Kaya ngan European nonotineng. Nite Wardandi buja ngalak nyining yay. Nyan karajan ngalang neraga. Kura kura. Nyan karajan ngalang buria. Kura kura wer yay. Hello, I'm happy to see you. And this is Noongar Country we are sitting in today. And we are in Wardandi country. Wardandi is one of the many clans we have across our Noongar country. I would like to pay respects and honour my ancestors from long ago, and I also want to pay respects to my elders, past and present. Noongar Buja, Noongar Country, Noongar Wongi, Noongar Language. Noongar, as you know now, is a language. Noongar represents a people that live in the southwest of Western Australia. Noongar also refers to a geographical location situated in the southwest of Australia, encompassing 14 clans of what we call today the Noongar Nation. It was not always called the Noongar Nation. Previous research has shown that it was once called the Bibbulmun Nation. Hence we have the Bibbulmun track. These are our clans. We have 14 in total. We have 3 remaining dialects that exist today. Ongoing research conducted with the team at the Noongar Buja Language Centre, situated in Wardandi country, suggests there could have been up to more than 15 dialects. Noongar language is the largest geographical location of one language in Australia. We have 35,000 Noongars to date. And it is our job to revive, maintain our language for our future generations. We want to empower our people for the future. We want our people to stand proud and say, yes, I am Noongar. We want our people to stand proud and say, yes, I do belong to this country. Noongar people went through many changes over the past years. As we all know, history tells us this. Noongar people endured many hardships, and in order to empower a nation, we've got to look at what disempowered our people. Noongar language at one time was forbidden. It was considered a bad thing. But today, we want to ensure that our Noongar people are going to learn their language and to empower them to give that sense of belonging. There are 5 pillars in society in Noongar: family, land, spirituality, law and reciprocity. Family. The family word in Noongar is mort. Mort means people also. Today we all are known by relationships. We're a brother, sister, mother, father, auntie, uncle, cousins, grandparents. Each term that is spoken in English actually defines what we do in our family circles, what we do amongst our social gatherings, and what we do amongst our friends. An auntie has a responsibility, an uncle, grandparents have responsibilities. And Noongar people had those terms in Noongar language. Mort is family. Mort means everyone. It's an extended family. I have seen evidence where Noongar people have started to reconnect to family, speaking the language of the past, having that identity and self-esteem restored back into the next generation. We look at land. Wayalup. Wayalup is situated on the coast of Bunbury. On this stretch of land, the ocean is called the Waranngka. Waranngka is the area where our Noongar people once buried. When our Noongar people passed on, it was tradition that they were buried along the sea. Now, Wayalap is a place of mourning. This is where we can identify through language what this word actually means and what level of Noongar country do we know about. We're all here, we're all sitting on Wadjak country. And what's amazing is that once you know this, you have the responsibility to look even further. You have a unique country that is never found anywhere else in this world. We have a unique language that can never be spoken anywhere else in this world because it would not have any meaning. When we speak language on country here, it connects us through spirituality. Spirituality. Noongar people are very spiritual. We have totems. Totems are items or animals that represent our families. On my mother's side, I have a totem called the Yonga, the kangaroo. It is believed that when our people pass on, this totem comes back to reveal itself to us and to show there's a sign of someone passed on in the Noongar community. On my father's side, I have a totem of the little green frog. When there is bad news and when there is something happening, that little frog, that little kuya will turn up and he'll sit at our doorstep or at our campsite and said something's going on in the community. We also have signs of weather, storms, misty rain. Misty rain is sorry rain. It's amazing that we have all these different meanings behind and purposes behind the elements that we see amongst Noongar country. Introducing Noongar language on Noongar country allows you to look at a country in a different way. We're not looking at buildings, we're not looking at roads, we're not looking at cars and trucks, things that get in the way. We're looking deeper and further down into the core of the earth. We're looking at rivers that had names. The Swan River, for instance, in Perth is called the Derrabuyerigan. Well, our Warragal, the big rainbow serpent, our Dreamtime serpent, created the waterways right through Noongar country. Noongars believe he is a caretaker that looks after our country. But also there is responsibility of the Noongar people as carers, as custodians of our land to ensure our spiritual beings are looked after and cared for. Spirituality and language is an amazing thing. When you go out on country and you speak, Kaya nga neraga, nga nyuro kuru, ngalang nyuro kuru, nyaran barang, bula bula kura, nuno karajan balap. Hello, my ancestors, my spirits. I bring my friends here and introduce them to you and for you to care for them on country. And as we saw, we had a welcome to country, allowing you to be safe on our lands and allow you to be a part of Wardandi country today. We have many clans, many different dialects. Each clan has its own unique protocols to country. When we stand on someone's country, we always acknowledge the elders, the community, before we allow to speak on someone else's land. We have places like Perth, Wadjak country. If I was to travel from here to Wadjak country, I will stand up and say, I acknowledge the Wadjak elders, past and present, on whose land I stand here today. That shows people that I have respect for their land and their people. Today, we are looking at the law. LORE is a law that is traditional for Noongar people. It was a governance for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. This law had not changed. This law governed Noongar people for generations and generations. And this law was not negotiable. You were obligated to do something. You couldn't ask why, you just did it. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't show respect to your elders. You start breaking LAW, the other law, which is our law about your rules and regulations and how you conduct yourself in your family, in your outer circle, with your friends, and across others in different clans. Welcome to Country also installs that part of law, your protocols, how you conduct yourself. When laws were broken, there were severe consequences in Noongar Country. I believe bringing those language concepts about law, about protocols, about welcome to country, speaking in language, could be a healing process for many of our people that were taken away from land, that were forbidden to speak their language, that lost that belief in our spiritual system. When I go out on country, you cannot describe the feeling you feel when you start talking in language. There's something that happens in here. And it's just an amazing feeling. And to take your children, nieces, nephews, family on country, talk about the kangaroo. You are kuru kulanga, nija yonga, balakumba yonga. Come here, children, come and look at this yonga. He's a big kangaroo, that one. And kids listen very attentively when you start speaking in language. There's something that's like it's a haze that comes over us when we speak our language. I was told recently, when I speak my language, I light up. There's something that draws something out of me. And I really appreciated that comment, and I'd like to thank that person for seeing that in me, that I would not necessarily have seen myself. Reconnecting our Noongar kids back to country, seeing dance on the land, singing songs, dancing our corroborees, bringing back the old traditional values. That's what held everything together. Language was the glue that attached everything together. Take away language, you take away all those terms, all those things that kept us as a united governing group. Reintroducing language back on country to empower people again, to make you feel like you belong. And we all want to belong, don't we? We all want to be a part of something. Today I invite you all here. You can be a part of Wadjak country today. You can be a part of using our language today. You can learn our language. When you start to reconnecting with another person through language and culture, it's an amazing bond that we have. You create a different group of friends. You have that respect for one another. It's an amazing what can happen when we learn about each other and how unique we are to celebrate those differences that we have amongst each other. Be pretty boring if we were all the same, weren't we? Yeah? Reciprocity, sharing, exchange, exchanging for something else. Noongar people grew up with obligation. I am obliged to share my language with you because you're on my Noongar country. And for you, in return, I expect you to walk in my shoes, to learn from me, to learn from my elders, but also to be part of my family. And when you become part of my family, we both have a responsibility together. Today, you're not just strangers. You are my mort. As I've been researching Noongar language for a long time, someone called me the other day and said, Charmaine, do you have a word for people? Mort, family. Do you have a word for community? Started looking through some research. Mort, family. And they said, that's quite general, isn't it? Yes, it is. But we all can be family. We all can be part of a collective group in Wardandi country and across the many clans that you walk across. So don't be scared to learn about your backyard, your spiritual connection to country. I was privileged working with our elders, recording and documenting stories, documenting dreamtime stories of how creation was developed, how our people were formed, how our language was formed. And to sit and see an elder have that faraway look in their eye, that showed me that elder was reminiscing. I said a word to one of these elders and I lost her for that moment. She went into dream time. She just disappeared for that one split second. And I said, Auntie, what happened? She said, it just took me back to a place when I was a child. Took me back to a place when I was happy. Took me back to a place when my mum used to tell stories. For that moment, she became that little girl at that time. At that moment, she started to be empowered. And I allowed her, by listening to her, asking questions, and looking at her as a person that has the knowledge, giving that respect back to our old people. Our old people are very, very important. They have so much to give us, so much experiences. We can learn a lot from our old people. Our old people are the ones that hold that knowledge. But we need to take time for our elders in our community to reconnect with them. I've had many opportunities in those many years, 20 years of language, and I've seen families come together, younger generations taking time out to listen to the old people. And you start to see a change slowly. It's not going to happen overnight. It may take a generation. It may take 2 generations. But if we start early with our little kulanga, our children, they're never going to experience the loss of language because we give it to them straight away. They're never going to fear the trauma that is attached to language, which is something as a blessing to me. They never undergo strict rules, don't speak your language. Our children today are the next generation. They're our next speakers. Even for other languages around the world, our languages are only as good as the next generation. And I implore you, those that do have another language, embrace it as much as you can, because that's your identity. That's who you are. And if we embrace our identity, we're going to empower ourselves on country. We're going to empower our next generation, not to be ashamed of who they are, but to stand tall, hold your head up high and be proud. Yes, I'm proud to be a Noongar woman. I am proud that I am relearning my Noongar language. I am so inspired to hear my mum today speak language. My mum had to relearn her language at a later part in her life. And as began to heal her, all the things that happened in her past. So again, we are a family today. We are Mort. We can learn so much from each other. So continue your language, continue to maintain it, because once it's gone, you'll feel that loss and that deep regret. So I am proud to stand here today to say that Noongar language is reviving, it's moving. And I have an open invitation for you to all come along and share and to learn with us. Because together we can empower another generation, another group of children, other new elders in our community. I'd like to thank you for taking your time to come here and to hear about my story, about our Noongar people. Thank you.